Welcome back to Well, That's Interesting. This sounds horrifying, and it is, but it's mostly about nesting edition.
What? What?
Yes. Yeah, this is In-Betweeni 042, the spider-eating bone house wasp and Arctic-dwelling dinos.
My brain exploded. What the fuck? Spider-eating bone house wasp. There's a lot of rough words.
Yes, it is.
In that title.
Yes.
Also, Arctic-dwelling dinos.
Yes.
What?
I'm Jill Chacha, and I am with the horrified Marissa Riley.
I am deeply horrified. And it takes a lot to horrify me. Spider-eating bone house wasp.
Yes.
Spider-eating bone house.
Yes,
So
everyone
Spider-eating bone house wasp.
Yeah, everyone say it together.
Spider-eating bone house wasp.
Yes.
That sounds like a music genre almost. Like a type of EDM. I'm really into bone house right now.
This is worse than EDM. So.
Oh my god, that's saying a lot.
If this is your first time listening, welcome.
Welcome to the bone house. Ew. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus. Welcome to the flock. And Dr. Riley here, she comes in cold, and she learns everything in real time, just like you. So you're going to hear all the screams are real.
All the screams are real. I had no idea what we were talking about. Jill gave me one teaser word, just one word, and she said bones.
That's right.
And I was... that is a broad topic. And, I tried to guess what it would be about, and my guesses weren't even close.
No.
Not even close.
Honestly, I couldn't come up with a more uncomfortable, terrifying combination of words than spider-eating bonehouse wasp if I tried. Mm-mm. And we have Kissy4647 on Twitter to thank for half of today's In-Betweenie.
Hell yeah.
They brought this creature to my attention, so cheers to Kissy, our number one fan on the number one site to feel as though you don't exist.
Amazing. Kissy, you are a hero. You're my mentor, which is an inside joke that only me and Jill get. I'll explain later.
So thank you, Kissy, for all you do for us and to all our fans.
To all our fans.
All of the listeners. So
our business skis.
Yes, that's right. I guess we should begin.
We shall.
Okay, so shall we get acquainted with this bonehouse wasp? Let's start where a group of entomologists found themselves. Gutianshan National Nature Reserve in the Xinjiang province of China. Now, where the fuck is that? So, everyone please picture a map of China.
Okay.
Now, point to the middle of the East Coast.
Okay.
Okay, so there is Shanghai.
All right.
Okay, now a 3-hour drive south from there is Xishan. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Xinjiang province, which happens to be where those 3 leopards escaped back in April and May. Remember that?
No shit. That's right.
That's right. We spoke about that back in In-Betweeni 038. I have not heard any updates as to that last leopard.
I was going to say, there's one that's still out there.
That's right. So if you haven't had a listen, please scroll back In-Betweeni 038. But we've been to this province before. Yeah. So it's a poppin' province. So in the very west...
Poppin' province. It took me a minute to digest that one. I love it.
In the very west of Xinjiang is Gutianshan National Nature Reserve, and it is really beautiful. It's extremely lush with every shade of green imaginable. It's also massive, clocking in at about 20,000 acres.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and that's not 20,000 flat acres either. The landscape is pretty mountainous. It's very dramatic, just like the nesting behavior of a new species of wasp discovered there.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Marissa, I'd like to introduce you to one of these wasps, and if you would, please describe their physique and what I think is a surprisingly streamlined, understated appearance. All photos will be on our Instagram. Well, That's Interesting Pod.
Yeah, you can follow along with us if you want.
You can play along. We're also on the Twitter, of course. We are at WTI_pod.
Yes, we are.
Here is a photo of the wasp.
Oh, wow. It is streamlined.
Yeah.
And it's kind of beautiful. I'm not sure. It looks like, okay, my first thought when I see this is it looks like a iron chair that you would see at a cafe outside in France. So that's kind of what it reminds me of. But basically it's got, wasp body, which is gray and very slim and not a lot of extra coloring. Mm-hmm. It's got these sort of long, delicate legs.
Yes.
And it's got these sleek, clear wings, transparent. Yeah. And then its little antenna or whatever, its feelers, they kind of, at the top, they sort of curl in on each other, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's a very interesting looking wasp. The wings are translucent, and when the light hits them in a certain way, they get like a little rainbow color.
Little rainbows.
There you go.
Yeah.
So again, no bright colors. The stinger is barely visible, right?
Yeah.
It's actually more on the attractive side than the terrifying side.
Yeah.
And boy, this wasp certainly encapsulates the old saying that appearances can be deceiving.
I thought so. I thought it would come down to that.
Yes. So this is the newly minted Deuteragina osarium, and it's named after the infamous Roman Catholic chapel in the Czech Republic. Okay. And you know the one built with bones of around 40,000 to 70,000 people.
Oh yes, that one.
That's the one.
the Bone Chapel.
That's right. I won't get into depth about this chapel, but highlights include a massive chandelier, which contains at least one of every bone in the human body.
Oh my God. Well, I know what I'm going to Google later.
So I don't have a picture of the chandelier, but I can show you a small portion of the interior.
Oh, thank God.
So
I have to see it.
Sounds like you want to see it. And of course, for the folks at home, this will also be on our Instagram. Or if you just want to Google, get more images, check out Sedlec ossuary.
Sedlec ossuary. Okay.
Yeah, here we go. Here's one part of the interior.
Oh my God. It's even better than I thought. This is like I feel like Jeffrey Dahmer would come in here and do like praise hands for an hour. This is so something.
Yes.
I don't even know how to describe this. Imagine the inside of a chapel, and then imagine where most of the molding is. Imagine where columns would be. Mm-hmm. Imagine sort of like as if someone had hung party streamers.
Yes.
Imagine all of those things, except instead of those things, it's just wreaths of skulls.
That's right.
Just skulls everywhere. They were like, if they could put a chain of skulls somewhere, they did.
Yeah. It's basically skulls, femurs, leg bones, thigh bones, all the bones. It's kind of like when you see like a grand opening to a store.
Yeah.
And you got those like little flags.
The little flags? Yeah.
But it's made of skulls.
But it's skulls. Yeah, exactly. It's great.
There's columns. This actually might be the big ass chandelier here.
I think that is a chandelier.
Yeah,
it's hard to tell because there's so many bones.
The bones just blend into each other.
Yeah, it's like looking at a group of zebras or something. Yeah. You're like, I don't know where one begins and the other end. I don't know where the chandelier starts and where the
fucking molding
bones end. I don't know.
So why would entomologists name a wee bug that's only half an inch long after something of nightmares?
Yeah.
Well, surprisingly, or not surprisingly, depending on your experience, it all comes down to their parenting skills.
Of course it does. Of course it does.
So let's get into it. Now, these wasps belong to my favorite group of insects, solitary spider predators. That's right.
What?
Yes. Dr. Marissa, would you please read from Wired.com as to what this means exactly?
I would love to. All right, quote, female wasps pounce on spider prey and sting. Her venom attacks the nervous system of the spider and paralyzes it. Then she drags the body of her immobilized victim back to her nest, a tunnel in the ground, or a tubular hole in wood. End quote.
That's right.
Okay, so it's the thing where
it's very sexy.
they drug it and drag it home.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So I wrote a note here saying that's how we met, but no. but that's the way It was much. It wasn't like that at all.
It really wasn't. Yeah. We were both equally drunk. It was.
Back to the bug. Now, actually, that paralyzed spider isn't for her. Adult wasps are actually vegan.
What?
Feeding only on flower nectar. The spider, just like with other spider wasp hunters, the spider will be food for her young.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, if this sounds a little familiar, we talked about another spider predator called the tarantula hawk way back in In-Betweeni 005.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I remember this.
That's right. That was the Schmidt Pain Index.
Yeah.
So have a listen to that one.
Good times.
So now both species paralyze the spider, drag it back to a den, lay a single egg in its chest, and when the wasp larvae hatch, they eat the spider from the inside out because nature is beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
Of course.
So here is where the similarities between the two species end, and where the bone house wasp is in a league of its own. This wasp is very extra. Okay. So
I'm like, how can we make this more than what it already is?
So
tell me.
Entomologists in this region of China set out 27 tubular hollow wooden reeds, hoping wasps would use it for like nesting sites. So think birdhouses for wasps.
Cute.
Basically.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
But the reeds weren't completely empty. Each reed had a few plastic vials in it, like test tubes.
Oh.
So when a wasp made a little nest, the entomologists were able to remove the test tube and watch what took place through the transparent plastic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's kind of like a ant farm situation.
Fun times.
Yeah, but very tiny vial worth and filled with horrors.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so-
I was going to say, this is a little scarier than a ant farm.
So we'll get to the horrors in a minute, but Dr. Marissa, here's a picture of what scientists gathered between 2011 and 2012.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, this is so cool. All right, so imagine a bunch of test tubes. The ends of them are clogged with some cotton, and inside you can actually see little wasps' nests. It's so cool. They sort of make these little. Are those the reeds inside? Or that's their nest?
It's part of the nest. It's part of the wood. Well, yeah, we'll get into the structure in a minute.
Anyways, they have these structures, and you can see them in there, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
This is so cool.
Yeah. So this is a hall of 829 nests, and each nest is like a long hallway.
Yes.
So please, everyone, picture in your mind a long hallway. And as you walk through the hallway, you have to pass through a few doors.
Yeah.
So essentially, the hallway is divided into 4 to 6 rooms.
Got it.
And these rooms are called brood cells.
Brood cells.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the hallway and doors are constructed with wood, soil, and saliva. So that's fun.
Amazing. That's so easy. It's so cool. It's like a railroad apartment.
Yes. If you
live in New York, it's just a long hallway. Divided up.
Exactly. And my friends, we need to talk about the cells and what's inside each.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start with the cells behind the first cell. Okay. Here is where each cell holds one paralyzed spider.
Oh my God.
And we know why. To be eaten from the inside out by babies.
Of course. Duh.
And that's right. And my friends, as this is happening, in the first cell, there's a pile of dead bodies floor to ceiling. And it's a pile of whole dead ants clogging the nest shut.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I have a cross section of this hallway if you'd like to see it. And don't worry, they're no longer any spiders because they've been eaten. It's just the ant bodies that remain. So
okay.
Look on her face.
Okay.
So this is a cross section of the hallway of all the brood cells, and it will be available on our Instagram and Twitter.
Amazing.
So
wow.
Yeah, so these were cells that had spiders at one point, and the first cell here, the entryway, as you can see, is filled with the bodies of ants.
Yeah, okay, so it's several cells, no longer with the spiders, and in the final one, you can see there are little walls on each side, and then just a pile of ants.
That's right.
And you should absolutely look at the picture because, we can describe it as much as possible, but it really is cool to see. I highly recommend.
Yeah.
And in this particular diagram, it shows how many ants are in there and kind of what their bodies look like when they're singled out.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. It also shows another view of the wasp, which is incredible.
Yeah. It's, and those ants, they're pretty big. They're nearly as big as the wasps. So
Yeah.
She did a great job. She did a great job stuffing them in there.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah. Now, 73 nests exhibited this type of behavior, and it's a behavior aptly called anting.
Okay.
Of course.
All right.
And there's a few theories as to why these wasps decided to use ant corpses to seal up their nests. And those theories are mainly chemical camouflage and chemical defense.
Oh.
Dr. Marissa, would you tell us a little more about this as to who the wasps are hiding their brood from and how successful this method is?
Oh my God, of course. Okay, from Wired.com, quote, the barricade of dead ant bodies radically reduced the rate of parasitism. Less than 3% of brood cells of these wasps were parasitized, compared to 16.5 for similar species collected in the same area. End quote. That's so cool. Prevents them from parasites.
Exactly.
Parasites.
Exactly.
Ah.
It's possible the scent of ants made wasp parasites believe this was a different species and not a tasty wasp larva.
Yeah.
It's also possible the scent repels larger predators who may not want to fuck with the power of an entire ant colony.
That's a great point.
Yeah, it turns out the most commonly used ant species was the largest and the most aggressive ant in the area.
This is the smartest wasp, and I have so much respect for this wasp.
Yeah.
I want to be this wasp when I grow up. This wasp
Goals.
is my mentor.
Life goals.
Life goals.
That's right.
Hashtag Bone House Wasp.
That's right. They're intense Martha Stewarts, basically.
Basically, yeah.
So, my friends, this smart yet sadistic move is why this wasp was named after a chapel built of bones. And yes, I said all those words, and that's the world we live in. So
It's my new favorite sentence. It's incredible.
now, after the break, we're sticking with nests and new discoveries, but this time, it's all about dinosaurs.
Fuck yeah, dinosaurs. I love them.
Stay tuned.
Please do.
Hello, everyone. You may recognize me as Gabby from the History of Everything podcast.
And my name is Brenna, and you don't recognize me from anything yet.
Together, we're two scientists who explore all of the weird little questions and conspiracies of the universe in our new podcast, Mystery of Everything. Everything has an explanation.
We hope.
But that is what we're here to figure out. We will dive into the science behind many popular conspiracy theories, such as vaccines causing autism, flat earth theory, and was the moon landing fake? And if so, why the heck would anyone even do that?
But it's not just conspiracies. There's a lot of cool mysteries that we will attempt to use science to explain, such as near-death experiences, what made the Vikings go berserk, and can I control my co-host with MK Ultra?
Wait, what? Anyway, make sure to check out the Mystery of Everything podcast everywhere where you find your podcasts.
Hello everyone, Stakuyi here,
And I'm Gabby.
and we are the hosts of History of Everything, a podcast which you can probably guess by the name is, well, it's about everything. Do you want to know why people thought potatoes were evil and would give you syphilis? Are you curious about all the stories of the terrible and stupid ways that people have kicked the bucket over the years? Do you want to hear tales about all of the different badasses of history and the lives that they had brought to life? Well, if so, then look no further. History of Everything is just the right podcast for you. It's available on Spotify, Pandora, and anywhere else that you get your podcast from. Join us for some fun and just see how weird and wacky history can be.
Hey everyone, Jill Chacha here from Well, That's Interesting, and I am absolutely thrilled to tell you about Spotify for podcasters. I use it, I love it, and it all started by downloading the free Spotify for Podcasters app, which has all the tools you need in one place to record and edit your masterpiece of a podcast. Spotify for Podcasters also distributes your show to all major platforms, so when you hit publish, your episodes will stream not only on Spotify, but I'm talking about the Apples, the Googles, Stitcher, Good Pods, the other ones. You get the idea. And you can monetize your podcast with no minimum listenership required. You could also set up monthly subscriptions and record ads just like this one. So what are you waiting for? Download Spotify for podcasters today and start changing the world. Oh, and please, stay interesting. And we're back.
We are so back.
We're so back, and we're digging for bones in the Arctic.
Of course we are.
And if that sounds difficult, it is, and we'll get into that briefly. But first, where are we exactly?
Great question.
So everyone, please imagine a map of Alaska.
Okay.
Point to the center. Now move your finger north until you nearly hit the coast, and there we are at the Prince Creek Formation of northern Alaska. Yes, which falls into range of the Arctic Circle.
Oh, okay.
And we're with Gregory Erickson, a paleobiologist of Florida State University, Patrick Druckenmiller, paleontologist of the University of Alaska Museum of the North, and many, 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 many tired members of their team. So,
I just want to point out that one of these people is from Florida and the other is in Alaska, someone who's working in Alaska, and that's just a very interesting teaming.
it's a very, what a dynamic, yeah.
What a two very different climates, personas. Oh my God.
So for weeks, they had been on their hands and knees along the Colville River, and it wasn't exactly glamorous work. Tyler Hunt, a PhD student at Florida State University who worked on the project, said, quote, "The ground is frozen, the bones are frozen, everything is muddy."
Oh, God.
Gross.
Oh, no.
Poor fucking students. So, now usually what comes to mind when you hear the words dinosaur bones is something like massive, right?
Absolutely.
Like a big old thigh bone or a long, sharp, pointy claw. But my friends, that's not the case here. And like I mentioned, it wasn't glamorous work at all.
Okay.
Now, the New York Times explained their painstaking process best. Quote, "Over the course of several trips, researchers scooped sand and sludge from the Prince Creek hillsides, revealing the frozen layer of fossil-bearing material underneath. After letting the trove thaw in the sun, they dug it out and sifted it through ever finer mesh screens, keeping anything bigger than a poppy seed. The haul was taken back to the lab, where scores of students and volunteers combed through it 1 tablespoon at a time.
Wow.
under microscopes, checking for tiny shards of bones and teeth called microfossils."
Okay, so basically what they're doing is digging in dirt
Yes.
and finding tiny pieces of stuff
Yeah.
in hopes that it is something called microfossils.
Yeah, something important. Yeah.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It does.
Good for these people.
I know.
This sounds terrible. I don't want to do this.
No, for someone this is fun. For us, it's not, but God bless them, you know?
God bless them.
Thank you for your work.
Yes.
Now, Dr. Marissa, I'd love to show you some of what they discovered, and this image really gives a sense of how small the bones that they're looking for really are.
Okay.
So here's a photo.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, so basically what I'm looking at is a bunch of tiny little bone pieces, and for scale, they're all sitting atop of a penny.
That's right.
They're so small. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like 7 or 8 tiny little pieces of bone all sitting on 1 penny.
Yes.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
They're barely bigger than Abraham Lincoln's nose.
Yes.
Like,
exactly. On a penny.
they are itty bitty.
Yeah. So for our friends overseas, a penny is a mere 19 millimeters across. And yeah, you could fit about 10 microfossils on a penny.
Yeah.
That's how tiny they are. But get ready for this cuteness, okay?
Okay.
These microfossils are baby dinosaur teeth.
Oh,
I
baby
know.
dino teeth.
Yes.
Baby dino teeth. Oh my God, I'm just gonna explode over here. Keep talking.
Oh, God. Just so cute. Baby teeth from at least 7 different late Cretaceous dinosaur species, including Tyrannosaurus,
Oh my God.
ridge-headed ceratopsians, and duck-billed hadrosaurs.
Dude, those are some of the biggest ones.
I know.
When I say big, I mean like most important.
Yeah, most popular. When, everyone knows a Triceratops, a Tyrannosaurus, and these are their baby teeth.
Yeah, it's the fucking Rolling Stones of the dinosaurs.
Right.
Yeah, amazing.
So, what does this all mean, finding baby teeth in northern Alaska?
Yeah.
Well, it means a lot, actually. So,
Ooh.
let's get into it. Now, around 60 to 80 million years ago, when researchers believed these babies were stomping around, Alaska was actually farther north, like where the pole is today. And although it was a wee bit warmer, it was still pretty damn chilly, with an average monthly temperature of about 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
And of course, for 4 months of the year, complete darkness with a brutal winter.
Oh,
Okay. So put a pin in all of this chilliness.
will do.
Now, everyone knows dinos hatch from eggs, right?
Yeah.
And their incubation period can take up to 6 months, depending on the species. Now, with this in mind, the seasonal changes and the increased distance, researchers concluded it was impossible for parents and newborns to migrate south to warmer weather before winter hit, which means the kitties are too small to make it, basically.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that means these dinosaurs lived in the Arctic all year round.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So, Dr. Marissa, what implications does this have for paleontology? Please read from our New York Times source, Tiny Fossils from Alaska Reveal Dinosaur Life in the Arctic.
Okay, all right. Quote, the dinosaurs must have found ways to keep themselves and offspring warm and fed. It's likely that some of them had downy feathers, Dr. Druckenmiller said. The finding also supports the increasingly popular idea that dinosaurs were not cold-blooded, lizard-like creatures, but rather endotherms, able to create their own body heat. End quote. That's
right.
so fucking cool.
I know.
This is so fucking huge.
I know, this is huge. It's additional evidence that dinosaurs were more on the endothermic side, meaning warm-blooded creatures like you and me. Yeah,
Wow.
I know.
Or they had feathers. Well, we already kind of knew a lot of them had feathers,
Yes.
but
But this is regulating body heat, so this is a pretty big deal.
This is
to see
huge.
babies in the Arctic, yeah. So the team is also looking into the possibility that dinos could have hibernated, so they are heading back to the Prince Creek Formation to look for larger things this time, like fossilized feathers and maybe even a cozy den or two.
Aww.
So good luck to them.
huge good luck to them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, digging in mud. I never thought anything would come of digging in mud, but let me tell you, it did.
Baby teeth.
Baby teeth.
Thanks to everyone for listening, subscribing, telling their friends. Thank you so much.
Jeez, you guys are amazing. We love hearing from you guys
Yes.
as well. Don't forget to rate and review. Subscribe.
Yeah, and send us what you think is interesting and what you've learned. Email us, DM us. We read them all, and we want to create an additional episode, maybe once a month, of your stuff, and just read all your shit back to you. So
Yep, we would
share
love to.
it. And please stay interesting.
Please do.